Brad Stevens, the GM, Brad Stevens, the coach. We're still going to be feeling him out this summer, figuring out exactly who he is as a general manager in his full season and a half, so to speak. But who do you like right now? Who is the running favorite between Brad, the GM, and Brad, the coach?
Gary, I'm going to let you go first, Gary.
I think Brad, I think Brad, the coach, is a great coach. I just think things kind of fizzled out. Things didn't work out toward the end, but I think he's a very good coach. Brad, the GM, has done a very solid job. I'm not going to give him an A or anything like that. I thought that they didn't have the bench last year that they needed to have to be a championship team, and that's something I'm sure he'll, he's bolstering at this as we speak, and he's adding players to that because I just think, like we've talked about earlier, like you've got, Juwan Morgan and Stauskas they brought in, and they couldn't play him. Like, bringing guys. So now their bench is basically like, okay, Hauser, Grant, Peyton Pritchard, Derrick White, Brogdon, and Gallinari. That's a solid bench. Now you need a couple of more guys. You could use one more old head and one more maybe 3-and-D guy. But I think Brad has done very good. Is obviously different from Danny. Danny coveted draft picks. Brad doesn't care. Like Brad's got that, it's like that meme of the brother with the flat top who does this. Like, you can't get criticized for your draft picks if you don't take any of them, if you trade them all. What I'm saying? Like, you can't jump me having bad drafts if I never draft. Gotcha.
I need Gary to voice over that meme every time I see it.
Yeah, you can't jump me. You can't give me a D on drafts if I don't use them. So I like Brad because that's kind of what he's doing. I mean, they don't have a draft pick their own till now 2024. He's like, hey, have it, man. Have here, Indiana. Here's San Antonio. Here, have our first rounder. We ain't tripping off 28 or 26 or whatever. And I get that. And there's so many different ways from signing guys off the street to cultivating guys like a Hauser that you can get quality young players. You just have to find them. Now that's where your scouting system kicks in and your assessment of talent kicks in. And I don't think it was all that great under the last few years of the Ainge era, passing up on Desmond Bain for Aaron Nesmith, the Carson Edwards thing. We can we'll talk about all that now. But I think Brad has been a very good GM. I'm looking forward to seeing more because I think he'll give Ime what he needs. I think them getting this close, I think Brad is probably kicking himself a little bit for not making more moves at the trade deadline, putting faith in guys that just didn't come through. The Stauskas thing, he was supposed to be this. He scored 57 points in a G League game, and it ends up he was a guy on the bench, but good moves, the Brogdon, the Gallinari. We'll see about Derrick White. I'm not crazy about that move. The Horford trade. All right. So we'll see how it goes down. But now you got guys, he's lining them up. Tatum signed long-term. Brogdon signed for a few more years. Derrick White, Smart. Now you see about Jalen, what's going to happen there, because that's going to come up soon. The next year or so, and then you see, and we can talk about that. Do you sign Grant Williams to an extension this summer? Yeah. He's eligible this summer for one of those like rookie extensions. Do you offer him 3 years and 36 or whatever, something like that? Do you think that that's appropriate? Obviously, you're not going to max him. That's crazy. But do you give him a 8-figure salary to start off with, or do you wait and then he's a restricted free agent? So we'll see. But I think Brad's done a good job. I give equal footing on Brad the coach and Brad the GM.
Oh, boo. Equal footing. Boo, Gary. Pick a side. Listen, I'm taking Brad the GM, and here's why. I saw what Brad the coach looks like, and there was a clear ceiling that Brad the coach had that he just couldn't break through. Undeniable. Brad the GM, in a short period of time you got rid of Kemba Walker, who, by the way, has not been good in the NBA since he was in Boston, for Al Horford, who people thought was washed up, but Al actually turned to be ready to just rain down on everyone and damn near got this team to an NBA chip. Now the Derrick White thing, Gary, I don't know why you hate Derrick White so much or hate that deal so much. I kind of like the deal. I like it more so now that you got Brogdon, because now Derrick White, you don't have to necessarily have him in the role of being Marcus Smart's backup. You can actually move him around a little bit more, and he can help you, I think, defensively. He can be not 3-and-D, just D, because I think his defense is better than we saw. I think he will defend better going forward. And then you look at Tatum, you look at Brown. The Grant Williams thing is interesting, because the one thing I will say about Danny Ainge, when it came time to give guys rookie extensions, Danny never overpaid. Danny, you never felt as if Danny was getting hoodwinked, hustled, bamboozled, and led astray. In fact, Danny was usually saving money. He was usually giving guys deals, and frankly, if guys wouldn't take that deal, then he just let them, he let them walk and take his chances through free agency or unrestricted free agency. So the point is this: Brad has way more potential to be better than he was as a GM. He has more potential to be better as a GM than he was as a coach, because we saw how far he could go as a coach, and that's the Eastern Conference Finals. We've seen in 1 year what he can do as a GM, and that's get 2 wins away from winning an NBA title. And by the way, Gary, great point about how there are things he would probably do better or do differently. He had a chance to address that in the offseason. You need a playmaker. You need a stretch big, and hopefully you can get another either 3-and-D guy or a guy that can knock down shots. He's already nailed 2 of those first 3 in no time, and he still got some major assets. I mean, that trade that, the TPE that he has, that's still out there. And to your point, Gary, a young fella that got released by Oklahoma City, Isaiah, he's a good player. He's a really good player, and if they can get him on the cheap, which obviously that's the goal, he will have essentially done everything he needed to do in the offseason before we get out of the month of July. And that, to me, again, when you're able to do that at the level that he's done it so far, I see way more potential for him as a great GM than him as a coach.